नमस्ते गुरुजी। जय गुरुजी महाराज। जय गुरुजी संगत जी. With folded hands, we thank you, our Guruji Maharaj, for enabling us with organizing Sangat Sharing Seva today. Today we are fortunate to have with us dear Ruchika ji, who will be sharing her journey with Guruji Maharaj. Blessing from Maharaj. Sangat ji, as we always wish to deepen our connections with Guruji Maharaj, we are looking forward to hear your experiences and blessings. Ruchika, over to you. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji to you, Uncle. Sangaji, Jai Guruji to everyone. Shukrana Guruji Maharaj for this opportunity to sing his praises and to share some of the blessings that he has bestowed upon me. I am by no means worthy to receive any blessings from from his divinity. I am by no means worthy. But he has accepted me with all my flaws, with all my faults, and from the bottom of my heart, I hope that I can just be grateful and every day I feel thankful that he has accepted me in his Charan Charan under the protection of his lotus feet. So thank you, Guruji Maharaj. I would like to begin as I've heard Sangat always says, to begin from the beginning. So my physical journey started with him. In the early 2000s, my family members, my mother, my brothers, my sisters-in-law, they all started. Guruji had called all of them, and they had started going to Empire Estate. And every now and then, I was living outside of Delhi at that time, and so I used to travel back and forth, and I used to keep hearing from them that there is this Guruji that we have started going to, and in those days. The word guru was a little sorry to say, but there were a lot of apprehensions attached to it due to cases which had come in the news. So I was also a little bit apprehensive about where have they started going, because we don't come from that kind of we have never been to involved with any kind of gurus as a family. So on one occasion when I was visiting home, I decided, I just thought that maybe I should go along with them and at least see what they are doing. I'm really sorry, Guruji, because this is the truth of the thoughts that I had at that time. And, I used to think at that time that I'm very spiritual because I was very fond of reading religious texts and, questioning a lot of things about life and so on, and trying to search for answers. So in my mind, I was a spiritual person, so to speak. And so I had this, what is the correct word would probably be a little bit of arrogance about me, about that I'm a spiritual person. And I had heard from my family and others who had, other Sangat that I had heard from, that Guruji knows people who come there. He knows everyone, and when we come before him, he can see us in and out, and he knows everything about us. In fact, when my mom went for the first time, she was not introduced to him. The auntie that she had gone with, they got separated in the queue. But even then, when she approached Guruji for his blessings, he called her out by name and he knew who she was. So, having all this in mind, when I went there for the first time, I thought that, Guruji will surely recognize me and he will know me. And Guruji, when I went there for the first time, Sangaji, to Empire State, that was my first session of Guruji in his physical form, by his grace. So when I went there, during the whole time, Guruji was not there at that time. We sat down, and when he came, everyone got up and we took his blessings. And Guruji was so kind that neither he looked at me nor he recognized me. He just, during the whole few hours that we were there, he completely, I'm so grateful to him that he did not even acknowledge me. So it was a very, for me, it was like arrogance is one of the things that Guruji wants us to get rid of. And I'm very grateful that right from the start, he has helped me to do so. So that was my first meeting with Guruji, and it was a pleasant experience. And as you may have heard from other Sangat also, Guruji, when he was on his seat, he used to talk very little, and it was very rare that rarely he would call somebody and talk to them directly. He never used to give any sermons. It was all about Guruji was very practical guru, and I would say that in the last 20 years, my 20 plus years rather, my journey with him has been very very practical, and all the lessons that he has given me have been also very practical. There are times when I found it tough to follow the things that I knew that he was guiding me toward. I'll share some of that later. And he always gave me a helping hand when I needed it. And when I was struggling thing and with the things, the way that he wanted me to, the paths that he wanted me to follow. So coming back to my journey, after the first meeting, I went there a couple more times, and on one of the days that I went to Empire Estate, when I was outside, I was given a small swaroop of Guruji, and one uncle was distributing, and he gave it to me. At that time, I did not know the significance of it, and to be very honest, I just took it and I kept it in my bag. And my sister-in-law made a note and a comment, and she said that Guruji is thinking in this swaroop, so maybe he wants you to think. And it did not strike me in any particular way, because I didn't. Everything was fine in my life. I was in a great job. I was just basically living out my dreams with His grace. So it didn't strike me at all that I needed a guru in my life at that point of time. Having said that, I would like to add that during the early part of my years, I did feel that I wish there was somebody who would tell me how I should live my life. And this is in the very early years, maybe during school time when I was growing up. And I never thought that it was in the form of a guru, because I did not correlate. I had no background of what that might be. So once I got the Swaroop, I kept it with myself. And Sangaji, after that, I started traveling more internationally. And during all the time, the for a few years, I was working abroad, and I used to travel all over Southeast Asia on my job. And that Swaroop remained with me in my bag. I did not think much of it, but it was always with me. And looking back, I can say that during all the years I was traveling alone, I used to live alone, and I just feel like Guruji just like he had a protective umbrella around me. And in those days, it was not so common for girls to be traveling or working, abroad alone. And it was only by His grace that my parents allowed me to do it. And it was only by His grace that I could do it safely and comfortably and really just live out all the dreams that I had about about a professional life. So after a few years, by some twist of fate, I would now think that it was something which Guruji had arranged. I left my job over there and moved back to India. I was living with my family over here, and by that time it was, I think, around 2009, and Guruji had left his chola already. So it was not very often that anybody would go to Empire State. In fact, I think my family also used to not go there anymore. Maybe they used to go for satsang or something. Um, so I remember it was in 2009, on 6th of July, there was a satsang in a very big mall which had just opened up in our city. And it was a huge satsang, and somehow we got an invitation, and we went there. And after that satsang, it was because 7th of July was the next day. So everybody said that, we want to go to Guruji's Mandir and start and, be there when it's 12 o'clock ends to have a celebration. I had never been to Bade Mandir, and in those days, it was very lonely road, is what I had heard. So, but somehow we said yes. So we went along with them, and that was my first trip to the Bade Mandir. And It was just a beautiful, beautiful experience. It was, I can't say that I had any divine experience over there, but it was just a really beautiful, peaceful place. And, we saw the shivling, we saw Guruji's, everything. That was my first time. So, I had a chance to see everything. And we were sitting in the hall when it was 12 o'clock. There was a lot of celebration happened at around 12 o'clock. And that was just really, really great. And I feel like Guruji gave me some special blessings that day, me and my family. And because it was only after that we started going regularly. So we had this inspiration that, we should go. And it was like an urge, it was like a pull that you should come. And almost every week we started going after that. And sometimes I would go, sometimes I wouldn't go, because I had that in mind that, is it my age, or like, do I really want to do this? But there was somehow a pull, and I would just say that Guruji pulled us and made it happen. So I'm very grateful for that. um, in those days, I didn't feel, as a family, we didn't feel that we could sit for so long. So Langar Prasad used to start around 9, I think, at that time. And there was about 2 hours of Shabad Gurbani Kirtan before that. And I wasn't sure if I could sit for so long. So we would all sometimes go a little late. Ki chalo, we can, just sit for a little bit of time and have Langar Prasad and come back. So this is how my journey started. And to the point where, slowly and slowly, Guruji just gave so much of love. And I would say ki now the pull is so much that day and night it's just about him. And no week goes by it is just like his loving grace that every week he lets me come to the mandir and have darshans. And day and night, like, he is just enveloped us. So it's just a beautiful and peaceful feeling to know that you are under the protection and the guidance of the ultimate divinity. So after that, since we had started going regularly, my I started working with my father. And we had a factory which was not very far from the mandir. And sometimes, on Mondays, I would just skip in the middle of the day and feel like going to the mandir. So I would just drive down and go there. And on during one of those days, I saw it was my sister-in-law's birthday. And she was, she just picked up the broom. And at that in those days everything was very open, so you could just do seva wherever. I did not know this. So I just saw that, she picked up a broom and she was doing just sweeping the floor with it. And I felt so happy seeing her do it. And I just, thought to myself how nice it would be if I could also do this. And over the coming few weeks, once in a while, I would get a chance to do so. And I did. And then I had it in mind, me and my mother had it in mind that how nice it would be if we were able to do more seva. So one fine day, one auntie asked my mother if, we could come in for a few months to, on a weekly basis. And because it was, I think, summer vacations, and a lot of aunties had gone for holidays. So they needed some people on a temporary basis to fill in. And it was just like we both just really wanted it. So Guruji gave us that opportunity. And we just said yes, and we started going. When I started going, it was in my mind ki chalo, it's a working day, so I'll go in for a few hours. And we can leave after lunch. And Sangatji, Guruji's pull is so much. Like, I think he allowed us to continue in the seva for a few years. And by the end of it, it was like we used to go early in the morning until late at night. The, there was no wish to leave from there. We just want to just be there the whole day and just be with him, do seva, listen to Shabad, listen to satsangs. It was just like an amazing, blissful time. Like I would say, the most blissful experiences that I had had in my life at that time. They all happened there. And the first day when I went in, it was our seva was in the kitchen, and I'm not very kitchen. Like I'm not really great at in the kitchen, so I was like, yeah, I hope they don't give me something which I'll not be able to do. So Guruji was very kind. And just as I was entering, I could hear all the aunties were sitting, and they were doing their own respective tasks, and they were all doing mantra jap and Om Namah Shivaya was being sung like one after the other. It was just like walking into like a blissful divine place. So they sent me to do a task which I was very comfortable doing. Like they told me to do some chopping and stuff. So I was very happy that, and I was just thankful to Guruji. Like they say that he always keeps your, um, like he doesn't let you be embarrassed. So just, it was just beautiful. So from there on, my journey started, and it was just Guruji's blessing that one by one he allowed us to do seva in different parts of the mandir, and he let me meet the most amazing sangat and aunties. They were all so loving, and they taught me so many things, and I mean kitchen things and non-kitchen things, and in the most loving way that Guruji just, I feel he just surrounds you with so much love that it's just a beautiful, beautiful pull. So that is how this journey started. At that time, so I would like to then come back to another, this is how the seva started. And so next, I would like to say that over the years that I was doing seva, I had not had any direct satsangs. So I used to keep hearing from people that Guruji has given us this blessing, or he has saved us from this, and so on. And I used to think, Guruji, when will my time come that I'll also be able to narrate something? So one fine day after many years, I was driving back from work. It was a little late at night, and on the way back, there was one lonely road, and which is very near to my house. So, like from that point, I guess my house is about 5 kilometers. So I was driving back, and I was a little sad, and I was crying, and I was just remembering Guruji and saying, Guruji, when will my time come that I'll also have a satsang? And, do you even know that I exist? Like, I'm also here. And Sangaji, I just, in this drive, with these thoughts, I reached back at the gate of my society. And as soon as I reached the gate of the society, my car stopped. I kept trying to start it. It didn't start. The guards came, and they were, because it was that kind of time, so people were gathering like behind. 2 3 cars came, and 2 3 because I was blocking the gate now, so I couldn't start the car. And then suddenly I looked at the uh, petrol gauge, and I realized that there was not a drop of petrol in my car. So I reached home, like they had to push the car, and like we managed to get it out of the way and put it in a parking slot. And that day I realized that there was no petrol in my car, and Guruji had brought me home without any petrol. The next morning, when we started to put petrol in the car, we had to put at least 5 liters of petrol before the car would even start. So that was the first, I would say, realization for me that this is the message that I got from that Guruji is looking out for you, and even when you don't know, even of problems that you don't realize. I had no idea that I had no petrol in my car. The car could have stalled literally anywhere on that lonely stretch of road, and I would have been in trouble. You know, I would have had to call somebody, get gas, whatever. Anything could have happened. And during that time when I didn't even know that I'm in trouble, he was looking out for me. And through that, he gave me the message that I'm always with you, I'm always looking out for you, and I really do know you. So I'm very grateful for that. And also, with that, he gave me one more very powerful um, prayer, because every day now, after that, since that day, actually, many years ago, every time I leave the house, I tell him, like you would tell your parent, that I'm going out. And when I come back, I first bow to him, and I thank him that he has brought me home safely. And Sangatji, this is a way that he has allowed me to connect with him on a regular basis, because now when I leave the house and all the time that I'm out, I know that he is with me. And this gives me a lot of strength and a lot of protection. So thank you very much, Guruji, for that. Then I would like to share a satsang of regarding non-vegetarian food. So we used to eat non-veg, and since I also, when I was living abroad, I used to eat a lot of non-veg also, and grown up eating all of it. And so one fine day, after a few years, then we had already been going regularly. I was just sitting in my room, and I don't know why, just like I'm sitting right now, and I was just looking at my hands, and I got a message that stop eating non-veg. मैं तेरी लकीरां बदल रहा हूं, which means that I am changing the lines on your hand. So I didn't know what to make of it, and I just realized that I had to stop non-veg, and it was not easy. I had been reading on and off. I have um, there are vachans which Guruji has said over the years that the aunties have asked him, like, do you want us to leave? And he said, I'll tell you when the time is right, for instance. Or he has said that meat is not good for the body, you should not have it. And putte karam bandene, basically you are creating bad karma, and by eating non-veg, and it's very difficult to cut these deeds. It's not easy because you're basically harming another living being. And in fact, just before I started narrating my satsang, I was listening to a shabad, and exactly this is what the message was being given in the Gurbani, that you know the more you harm other living beings, these are all the karmas that you are making on yourself. And you may think that I'm not the one who's actually doing the cutting, but if you are doing the eating, then like Guruji used to say, apni body ko shamshan ghat na banao, which means that don't make a graveyard out of your body. So meat is not these are the message that I had been getting. But when you are a regular eater, then it's not easy to stop. And even when I got this direct message from Guruji, it was not easy for me to stop. Soon after that, we went on a vacation, and as a family, and I had thought that I will not eat non-veg, but when it comes in front of you, it's not easy to stop. So it took me a lot of time. It took me many years to actually slowly. I had to reduce it. So I can't say that I left it. I would say that Guruji helped me to leave it, and even now, once in a while, I have a very strong urge, and it's been many years now since I got this message. But the only thing that I can say I only in my appreciation, I mean, I don't know if that's the right word, but the only thing that I do is I try. I tried really hard, and Guruji helped me. And what I've heard is that when you take one step toward Guruji, then he takes 100 steps toward you. And for me, what that means is, when you listen to what Guruji says, like taking a step toward Guruji basically means that whatever he's telling you to do, you do that. Listening to his vachan is what is is what makes him happy. Is This is my understanding. So this is what he asked me to do, and I now I don't feel an urge for it even. Very rarely, I'll sniff it and I'll want to do it. But I have to say that I don't know what was in store for me. But Guruji, I do feel that he has changed my destiny for sure, because I just feel it's like I described before. It's like an envelope of love. It's just he lets you feel so amazingly grateful, and I don't know what I did to deserve this, but he can bestow grace upon anybody. So, with that, I'll move on to the next satsang. In fact, during the lockdown, when the COVID period started, just before that, we used to have satsang at our home, which had a lot of sangat, and we would have liked to continue like that. But just a few months before the lockdown and the whole in March 2020 is when it started. A few months before that, we started getting the message that do satsang with less people, just family. So we started doing that, Sangaji, and almost every month, or sometimes once or twice a month, we used to have satsang with just family members. And when the lockdown started, it really served us well. And fortunately, we were well prepared for that, having satsang with just few people. And we continued with that. Guruji, in fact, Guruji would many times give a date and say that, I'm going to come, like, do satsang on this so and so day. And like just a few, like two, three, four family members of us would sit down and do the satsang. Um, During this time, a lot of things happened that were not so great, and we were going through, like I would like to say, easy, very simply, a difficult time. It was a difficult time financially. It was a difficult time emotionally, and but Guruji was always holding our hand. In fact, I can just give a few examples of that. When there was one instance that um, we were having satsang at our place, and right after the satsang we got a call, and it was from the hospital, which is just across the road from my place. And they said that your number has been given to us, and there's somebody here who like he took the name, and he said that this person is here. And of course we were shocked, and we ran to the hospital. And my brother was the one who had a accident. And the auto person the that he was in had the person it had happened, they had left him just outside at the gate of the hospital. And it was just Guruji's grace that we were having satsang at that time. And it was just like you realize that there are no coincidences. Guruji protected him, he protected us. And they he had his laptop with him, he had his phone with him, he had a full bag of things. And nobody stole anything. And they brought him to the hospital, and within a day, like by evening, we could get him home. So it was just Guruji's grace. And the satsang days are, I feel, are sacrosanct. And the day that when Guruji says you need to do satsang on so and so date, we need to follow it, no matter what is going on in our lives. Similarly, there was another incident when um, there was some legal battle which we were in at that time. And the lawyer that we had engaged was not, like, I would say that he was not that up to mark, probably. So he didn't know that what was happening with the case. And so one fine day, we were having a satsang, and the next, I think there was a satsang the day after. And just before that, we were busy with preparations and stuff. So we also didn't really bother too much about what is happening. And Guruji keeps you busy with himself. Like he used to say that focus on me and don't focus on your problems. He used to say chintan karo, chinta mat karo. And during those few years of lockdown, he really helped us to um, experience this, because there were men, like I said, that he used to keep giving us dates for satsang, sometimes once a month, sometimes twice a month, and all our focus and diversion would be on that. And we would be busy making preparations and ironing his clothes and making flower decorations, and it was all just it was just our family planning our planning lagar prasad, and what we would like Guruji to have, and so on and so forth, and we would just not be focusing on our problems. So on one such day, there was a we were just it was in the afternoon, and there was a thunderstorm, and literally I was standing in the balcony, and we have a huge glass windows, and when the storm started, and suddenly there were huge, like very strong winds, and I felt that we need to start closing some of the windows so that the cross ventilation stops. And I just closed the balcony glasses and came inside, and within a few seconds of that, the outside windows, the glass shattered, and it came inside through the balcony. So both the layers of glass shattered, and they came inside, and basically reached the sofa, and where the sitting area is. And just a few seconds after I had left from there. So I mean, had I been standing there, I would have been very badly injured. And so thank you, Guruji, for always, always, always protecting us. And the next day, we found out that the date had been pretty much at the same time that the glass was shattering. And this is one more thing that Guruji's vachans, and I've heard from Sangat also, that Guruji used to say that breaking of glass is very good, and koi na koi kast talta hai. So something bad which was about to happen is taken care of by breaking of the glass. And something bad that was going to happen that day also was taken care of by the breaking of that glass, and whatever um, legal thing had to happen that day, like that was just taken care of, and it just got dissolved on its own by Guruji's grace. So that's then one more satsang I would narrate of around the same time. My nephew was studying in the US, and one day we were having satsang at home, and we heard that the next day that due to the time difference, that he was in the car, probably around the same time that Guruji had given for a satsang. Guruji, he was in a car with his friends. They were driving on the highway, and the car, it was like a major highway, so it was like an 8-lane highway, and the car basically went from one side of the highway to the other side of the highway. And in the US, the cars travel at very high speeds, so you can only imagine that going from one side to the other side, there would have been several cars along the way also. By Guruji's grace, they didn't crash into anybody, they didn't crash into any car, none of the boys were harmed. And whatever accident they had, they just they had a super spin, and then they reached on the other side of the road, and the car stopped. The cops came, and they were very kind. They dropped him to the house, and they helped him to take care of everything. And who else can do this but Guruji? Like, he just keeps a protection on all members of the family. Like, he just makes sure, like, all this is not coincidence that all of this is happening while Guruji's satsang is happening, or just before, or just after. I mean, he just knows, like, he just shows you again and again, these are his ways of saying that you are under my protection, and when my protection is there, then no harm can come. Problems will come and go, but with Guruji's hand on our head, we are always protected. He always takes care of us, and we always come out on the brighter side. Talking about my nephew, I'll share one more short satsang about him. So just when he was the first child in our family that was going to go and study abroad. And of course, at a very young age, 18, 19 years old, when you're to be going and living on your own. So, and that too, so far away in the US. So I was a little worried, and it was in my mind that Guruji, he's going to be on his own. So, like, how is it going to be? So Guruji again, like, kept making me listen to satsang about aunties who shared that my son was going or my daughter was going, and how Guruji would take care of them. And Guruji gave the message that to some other auntie that when the kids go, I go with them and they are under my protection, so you don't need to worry. So by listening again and again to satsangs which are about this, and these are just totally randomly played satsang, because the Guruji makes you listen to the satsang that you need to hear. This is, I don't know how, like, his magic is just unimaginable. So, by the time it was time for him to leave, um, I personally was very calm, and, like, of course, he allowed each one of, his parents, his grandparents, all of us were very, like, okay with it, just knowing that Guruji is there, and wherever he will be under Guruji's protection. So, remember, this also satsang reminded me of my own satsang, which happened before I had actually met Guruji in physical form. Um, it just kind of put into perspective for me that Guruji was looking out for me much, much before that I had physically met him, or even had heard about him or knew about him. And when he could be looking out for me when I had not even heard about him, so of course he'll be looking out for our children and all our family members who know of him, who have seen him, and who have like who talk about Guruji every day. So of course he is going to be looking out for us, and so my nephew's satsang reminded me that when I had gone for my first job in early 2000, and that was my big job when I first moved out. Started doing a job with a big company, multinational company in Mumbai, and the date that I started my job was on 7th of July. So it was only on looking back that I realized that it was all Guruji's planning and Guruji's blessing, and he is the one who has been guiding my life right from day one. And, like they say, we don't know how many births we have been with him, but at least in this one, I do know that I have always been under his protection and his guidance. So, thank you very much, Sangaji. And with that, I would, one more satsang I would like to share is that one of the most blessed seva that he gifted me, and was through the multilingual group. It was just an amazing divine seva which he has given, that I would like to talk about. So, in the year early in 2020, Guruji has guided us that we should collect the vachan, which things that which Guruji had said. Like I said earlier, Guruji never used to give sermons, but there were little things that messages that he would give to Sangat, and from time to time that they have noted down, and what they remember, and we collected those from over 40 sangat, and so there are little messages which, for me, we the more that I read it, the more it gives me so much guidance, and it was like the first time that I read it, I felt like there were cobwebs in my mind, and I was just it was like a way, like every time I would read them, the cobwebs in my mind would get removed and become a little bit, my mind was starting to clear up and become more positive. And one of the things Guruji used to say is that you should always be positive. No matter what is happening in your life, I am there to take care of you and to take care of everything. So always be positive. And that is one of the things that Guruji has taught me is, I was a very negative person. And sometimes you don't even realize how negative you are and the things that you worry about. And always the mind is running, running, running. But then one fine day, I asked Guruji, like, my mind is always running. So what should I think about? And if I can't think about, worrying about things, then what should I think about? And he gave me a very simple and beautiful message that just do mantra jap. And the mantra jap is so simple and beautiful that I think So, with that, I would like to share a few messages which I have read again and again, or the messages which have come to me through Satsang and Shabad Kirtan, and which have served me as so Sankaji, that my nephew's satsang reminded me of my own satsang when when I went for my first job with a big multinational. That was my first big break. It was I it was on 7th of July that I started my job. So it was only much later that I realized that it was all Guruji's blessing. He is the one who had guided me on that journey. And even when I did not know of him and I had not heard of him, even then, he was guiding my life. And I don't know about previous life, but in this lifetime, I do feel that from day one, he has been guiding my journey. And I'm very grateful for that. Without him, I would be completely lost. So, with that, I would like to talk about some of the things that I have learned over the years, which have served me very well to on my journey to connect with him. Because when I first started hearing about, everyone would say you need to connect with Guruji, you need to connect with, have a direct connection with him, and sometimes I would not know what that means. Does it mean that I need to pray to him more, or like what do I need to do? But over the years, my understanding is that I need to talk to him and I need to do the things that he wants me to do. And some of the things that I feel he wants, not just from me, but from his Sangat, is to, let me give you one example. Is when I was when I was doing seva in the kitchen, one auntie would tell me that, when you are whenever whatever seva that you are doing, you are cutting or making roti or whatever you are doing, just keep saying Jai Guruji, Jai Guruji, Jai Guruji. And she explained it in such a nice way that when we say Jai Guruji and when we think of Guruji when we are doing our seva, then it fills the langar prasad with positivity, and that much less Guruji has to do to fill the positivity in the Langar Prasad because we are already doing part of it. It's just easier and it just multiplies the positivity which is and the blessings which are going into the prasad. And it helped me to understand that it's not just prasad; it's in everything that we do. When we do our part, like I said earlier, when we take that one step, and that one step for me is listening to the Guruji's vachans, and not just listening but obeying and just trying to follow them. So when we take that one step, he takes 100 steps, and it becomes that much easier for him to bless us. And I feel that very strongly, over the years, the more I listen to what he says, the more I can hear him, and the more I can feel his blessings. So one of the things that they say is that when you go for a satsang or when you go to the mandir, your eyes should be on the ground. You should not be looking around at other people or other things and try to see what everyone else is doing. Your focus should be only on him and him alone. When you're having langar prasad, the focus should be only on the prasad and how much blessings the prasad is giving to you. Like that's what you should be trying to absorb. When you are in the mandir or in satsang, your focus should be on the Shabad Gurbani and on Guruji. And the more focus that we have on the things which are giving us blessings, in one of the vachans that I have read, Guruji has said that my mandir is like it's like an Air Force station. So radar, like it's giving out positive signals all the time. But not everyone is accepting it because our mind is constantly filled with other things. The more we focus on him and the more we focus on what the blessings which are coming to us through the Shabad Gurbani, through the Langar Prasad, through just darshan of Guruji. Just looking at his picture is a blessing that not everybody has in this lifetime. So these are the things that we should focus on and not on what is happening around us. The other thing that second thing is be on time. Whenever a satsang is happening, we should make every effort possible to be there before Guruji. And Guruji has said this to many sangat also that late aake kuch nahi milega. And of course, we all have things happening in our life, and it's not always possible to reach at a certain time which has not been decided by us. But our place is to make an honest effort to be on time and to always be present when we go to meet Guruji. Because we are the ones who are going to seek something. We are the ones who are going to seek his blessings, and it's not that he's, you know, taking something from us. We are the ones who are wanting something. So when you go to meet your boss and you have a time fixed with them, you'll make every effort possible to be on time. And similarly, we should always be well dressed, not flashy, not trying to attract attention, but well dressed. We should be, Guruji used to say, if I can make an effort and wear clean clothes and be on time when I come to when he used to come to the darbar and sit on his gatti, he would always be in fresh clothes. He would always be like in beautiful clothes. And he would have a bath and he would get dressed and he would come and he would be sit on his gatti. And that's the least that we can do is to, this is a place where we pray. So I think pretty much across all cultures, it is understood that when you are praying, cleanliness is very important, and we should make every effort possible to do that. Um, Salpar suit is the best dress I have heard from many sangat, and I will narrate my own experience on this. I remember one time when we were in the early years. And, like I was narrating earlier, we used to get to sit in the hall sometimes, and sometimes it would be for long periods, maybe half an hour, 1 hour, or more. And one day I went in jeans. And Sangaji, it was so hard for me to sit in the jeans. And throughout, I was just like, moving around from one leg to the other leg. And it was really hard. And that day, I made a promise to myself that I'm always going to come in a suit. And, it was like just Guruji's direction, his help to me to tell me that, okay, you need to wear salwar suit. And it was much later that I discovered when I started reading Guruji's vachans and, what the things that Guruji had said to his Sangat. And he used to say that salwar suit is the best. Even for small kids, he used to small girls. He used to say, "Ki inko get them, bring them in salwar suit." And we should always be properly dressed when we go to meet our guru. And covering of head is not something which I have heard from any sangat, but personally for me, I find that it gives me a lot of focus when my head is covered. And initially, I never used to cover my head, and for many years I did not. It was, I think, only during the last 5 or 6 years that I felt that I started covering my head. I don't know, I don't remember when it started, but then I looked it up because nobody else used to do it. And I said, Guruji, why is it that I'm feeling that I should do this? And I looked it up and I realized that in pretty much all cultures, there is a, I wouldn't say mandate, but there is a, I can't find the right word, but it is very common for people to cover their heads when they go into a temple or a church, or I won't say church, but in Islam and in many religions, it is very common for people to cover their heads when they pray. And for me personally, it helps to give me focus because when I cover my head, it reminds me in a way that I need to keep my focus on Guruji and not on what is happening around me. So also it is a form of respect, is what I read, and it helps um, to keep the attention on what you need to keep the attention on, which is Guruji. Then we should be silent and focus on him alone. And sometimes, in the initial years, I would not understand the Shabad Gurbani at all. And I would think that, I can't understand this. And of course, the mind starts to wander. But I do remember a few instances where I had questions in my mind. And just when, my mind would be wandering somewhere, and just when the correct uh, stanza would be playing, I would start focusing on it. And I don't know how it used to happen, but always I would get my answers and I could understand what was being said. And slowly, slowly, I developed a habit that there are things which I could not understand, but if I liked them, if they sounded interesting to me, then I would start looking them up. I would look them up on the internet and try to get their meaning. And in those years, not so much information was available, but now it's so easily available to find the meaning of Shabad Gurbani and just to follow it. And we are so blessed to be in a time where all this information is so easily accessible to us. One thing Guruji used to say very, very strongly is Ninda Chugli nahi karni hai. And I've heard this from many, many, many Sangat. He always used to insist that, you will only be able to receive my blessings fully if you stop doing that. So, gossiping and backbiting and judging of others, criticizing other people, or passing judgment on what they are doing or not doing correctly. We go to the mandir so many times and it crosses the mind, oh, what he's doing is not right or what I'm doing is better. That is all arrogance. So I have come to realize over time through like personal experiences. I'm not talking about anybody else, I'm just going to talk about myself. And slowly, slowly, I started to realize that even though I was not saying it out loud, I was thinking these things that, oh, they are conducting themselves in this way. Oh, they are doing this, and I'm better. I'm doing it this way. So simple, simple things, like they are not standing in line, or they are just, eating like this, or whatever, just simple things. And slowly, Guruji has taught me, or rather, he has imbibed in me this feeling that. You don't need to focus on what anybody else is doing because what they are doing is their journey with Guruji. You just need to focus on your own journey. You need to focus on what you are doing. And I try to do that now. I try to stop my mind from judging others. I try to, and the best way to do that is to just focus on him and, keep your eyes down and just, not look at what anybody else is doing. And the rest is easy. uh, Really, ninda chugli and gossiping, backbiting, criticizing are really things which create a lot of negativity in us. And it's very difficult to absorb blessings when we are doing those things. So, and then one more message that I would really like to share is which Guruji has told me many, many times, and I would say that almost every day he gives me this message, um, that without taking care of your parents, you will not get very far. So, this is a very important message, and as time passes, I see this message differently. When I started seeing this message a few years ago, I felt like, okay, it just means that, I need to take care of them, or maybe financially, or, in some other way, or when they are having some trouble, like I need to be there for them. But over the years, Guruji has made me realize that taking care doesn't just mean that seva of parents is not just that you take care of them when they are in trouble, or if they need you financially or whatever. It also means that you be there for them on a daily basis, like just spend time with them, because this is an age where time is our most precious commodity, and when you are able to give your time to somebody, then and be polite to them or talk to them nicely, these are the things they look out for. And the kind of blessings that parents and elders can give us, they help us on a journey that beyond more than anything that anybody else can do for us. When you do something, I have felt this, that when something is done with a pure heart for your parents, and when they actually feel that love from you, there is no way that we can repay what they have done for us. They have been there for us through our good times and our bad times, and financially, just in every way possible, emotionally, there's no way that we can repay them. So what is it that we can do for them? We can just give some of our time to them, and be kind to them, and talk to them lovingly. And in this day and age, I find, even in myself, that sometimes it's very easy to be irritable and rude to parents. It's because they will just take it, they will just take it in their stride. But that doesn't make it right. And I really hope and pray to Guruji that he will allow me to keep working on this. I am in a very nascent stage, but this is the message that is very, very important. And even if you listen to Shabad Gurbani, you will hear that very often. The Guru is referred to as Tu Mera Mata, Tu Mera Pita. And there are many Shabad like this that equate the Guru with God, the Guru with your parents. And, if we can make our parents happy, that will certainly make our Guru happy. So, Sangaji, these are some of the things that I had liked to share. And, a few years ago, Guruji, around 2020, Guruji blessed me with a very beautiful seva and a very beautiful opportunity to connect with the multilingual Sevadars team, the multilingual global Sevadars team, rather. And we embarked on under his guidance, we embarked on a mission to collect all these vachans, things which Guruji has said. As we all know, Guruji never used to give any pravachan. He never used to give any sermons. He just said the little things like this. The few things which I have just narrated, the little things like this which he has shared with Sangat over time. And we wanted to collect. The guidance was to collect these things from the Sangat who have actually heard them on their own, and no, it was not hearsay. So the multilingual global Sevadars team embarked on this, and they contacted the Sangat who has met Guruji physically in his when he was in his chola, and who have heard all these different nuggets from him. And some of the nuggets that I had heard over the years were from Sabina auntie and Sukmani auntie, and I have one right here behind me. Is This is Guruji's Vachans, which are there in Sukmani auntie's book, and they came to me in the form of a calendar a few years ago, and I was so attracted to them because they provided me with so much guidance and love that I kept it. I just kept the calendar, and every day I look at it and I read one vachan, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to try to do today. So, with Guruji's help, we collected these vachans from over 40 sangat over the years, and we compiled them into one book, which is called Golden Words of Guruji Maharaj. And I would like to, if possible, share the PDF version of that. This is available on the multilingual Global Sevadar's website. And let me see if I can just share that with you. Just give me 1 second, please. So I'll just try to share the screen. Yeah. So, Sangaji, this is the multilingual Global Sevadar's website. And in this, under this, we have Guruji Maharaj's golden words, which are basically Amrit for us. And every word that Guruji Maharaj has said is Amrit, and it purifies the soul, and it provides so much divine guidance to us that on how to live. These are all practical messages on how we should be living our day-to-day life so that we can receive maximum blessings from Guruji and stay connected to him on a daily basis. So we have published it in two versions. One is English and Hindi. I'll show the English version. So this is the golden words of Guruji Maharaj. It's just a submission of love. And I'll just show you here that we have this is the table of contents, which basically tells us that there are some vachans which have been spoken to all these Sangat. They are the ones who have actually compiled all this for us. They have jogged their memories and told, just noted down the things that Guruji has said in their presence, and they have put it together for us. I mean, what a beautiful gift from them and from Guruji Maharaj. So there are about 44 Sangat who have narrated in this. And like Aarti, this is Singla uncle's. This, I find this so amazing. Nothing is by chance, everything is by choice. So everything that is happening in our life is by Guruji's choice. And with that, I would just like to thank Guruji for his endless blessings. And I hope, Guruji, that I can continue on this journey to be closer to you. And I want to thank you for a beautiful loving family and for a beautiful life, and a life which is in which you have allowed me to connect with you. So thank you very much. And thank you very much, Sangaji, for listening. And I wish you all the best in your journey toward Guruji. And I hope that we can all continue to support each other on this journey. Thank you. Jai Guruji Maharaj.
Dhan Dhan Guruji Maharaj. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable experiences and messages for Guru Sangat.
Thank you, Uncle.
They are blessings of Guruji Maharaj indeed. Your messages were very divine and blissful.
Thank you, Uncle.
May
It's
Guruji
really
Maharaj grace prevails with all the Guru Sangat everywhere. Thank you very much once
thank you,
again.
Uncle.
महाराज की कृपा बनी रहे. Now we'll take आगे from Guruji Maharaj. जय गुरु जी, शुक्राना
Jai
गुरु जी.
Guruji. Shukrana, Guruji. Shukrana.